Welcome to Read, Eat, Travel, Repeat, the book club and podcast with your hosts, Sara, Kit, and Maryanne, three friends who talk about all things books, food, and travel.
Welcome, readers, eaters, and travelers, to another episode of Read, Eat, Travel, Repeat, the podcast and book club where books take us beyond the page. I'm Sara.
I'm Kit.
And I'm Maryanne. Today we'll be talking about the books we've read recently and books we think you need to add to your TBR pile.
This episode is spoiler free, so if a book you haven't read yet is mentioned, don't worry, we're not going to spoil it for you. Also, we are adult readers and we say adult things.
It happens.
It happens.
Might depend on the kind of day we've had, right?
It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
All right, so what's going on? Kit, you're coming to us from New York, so you're traveling.
I am. I'm in the Adirondacks this week. I was in Syracuse for the Syracuse Maker Faire. My other company, Tangled Tree Learning, did a whole planetarium presentation. It was an all-day thing. It was super fun. And then we're doing it again on Wednesday at the school I used to teach at. But in the interim between those days, I headed up to the Adirondacks to go camping. It's been raining, but it's still super fun. I also got another tattoo, so that's always it's like my number one stop when I come to Syracuse.
Is it Josh? Isn't that your tattoo guy?
It is Josh. Yeah.
Did you make him listen to our first episode where we mentioned
it? He knows. I told him about it. That I was like, I spent a long time talking about the frog tattoo.
So did you get like a book one or like what'd you get?
No, I got I would show you, but it feels like maybe not on the recorded one because I'm wearing like volleyball shorts, like super short shorts right now, because the tattoo's on the back of my thigh.
Oh, okay.
So I'll show you after when we're not recording.
If anyone other than us were to see it, it might be right. We never know where this video is going to end up.
I have a nice picture of it too that I can show. Let me see if I can like put it in front of the screen. But he does a really good job always. So I kind of give him ideas and then he just does what he does.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's so cool. That's very you.
So that's the back of my left leg. And then there'll be a matching one at some point on the back of my right leg.
Oh, nice. Wow.
With like a different animal. But they're like cousins. Same idea, different
Same
look.
thing, only different.
Yeah.
I still have 0 tattoos and
we'll get when you come to New York, you too.
I know. I'm like, I'm supposed to get one with my horsey friends.
Yeah.
And we just have never set it up. And then my girls and I have talked about getting a matching one, which I really want to do. Just something small.
Kelsey and I have that one. Kelsey and I got it in Savannah, which has a big Irish population, a big Irish tradition. And she used to do a lot of Irish dance competitions up there. So that's why we got something Irish.
Yeah, for the competitions. Yeah. What about you, Ma? What do you have going on?
Okay, so we were always talking about food, and I tried collard greens for the first time.
Ooh, nice.
And my New York-born mother is probably like spinning in her grave right now. I'd never had them because I'm vegetarian, and usually they're made with
like pork
animal
grease
products
or something, right? Or
But I was at a banquet and they had vegetarian collard greens, and I really liked them. I want to learn how to make them.
Isn't it kind of like spinach, like a spinach family?
It tasted cabbagey to me.
Oh, okay.
So that was my first time eating collard greens. They're very exciting. But other than that, it's just crunch time at the day job, with AP testing and of course testing for my U.S. history kids, plus my RoCap Honor Society, Social Studies Honor Society is designing that museum exhibit, which opens next Thursday. So it's just got a lot on my plate right now, but not so much that I don't have time to read. So
right. I always have time to read.
Priorities,
always.
Right?
Priorities.
Always.
You can always find time to read.
Yeah.
Right. What about you, Kit? Or no, Sara?
I did go to. Elena was able to compete regional gymnastics despite our gymnastics medical drama, and so we were in Akron, Ohio last weekend, 2 weekends ago, and we did go to Cuyahoga National Park, literally for like 2 hours.
Oh wow!
And I'm like, I need to go back. Like it was really cool. It is a really, really pretty area, and I take back anything I said about not liking Akron. Cuyahoga Falls is a really cool town.
Yes.
And it's very pretty because you have the river that runs through there, and there's like a natural falls or something. And I don't think my daughter was too thrilled. I was like, we are here. We are at least driving through the park.
Missing it.
It's not like a huge like hiking park. I mean, everything is like real quick. We literally went to one waterfall. We went to Brandywine.
That's
it's
what I
literally
went to.
right. It's right off the road.
there.
Like you park.
That's where the wall snakes were.
Oh yeah, I forgot to look for those. And you like walk down the stairs, and then there's the falls, and it was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And it was like, okay, now we can go back to the hotel. I'm content. So, like I said, we've had a lot of medical drama. My family has hit their deductible for the year.
Well, that's not fun.
I know. Between that and then my oldest ended up with emergency surgery last Monday. So I'm starting to hate Mondays because all of this happens on a Monday.
We should
recording this podcast is the highlight of my Mondays.
What's that song? Who was it? I Don't Like Mondays. Who was
I
that?
know. I feel like Manic Monday, the Bangles, just another Manic Monday. There's another one. I know.
There's one called I Don't Like Mondays. I used to listen to it all the time. I'd put it on at school.
I did have some amazing food this weekend because I am a horse person and the Kentucky Derby was on.
Yeah.
And so we had a little party.
I thought you were going a different direction with that.
Oh, that I was like eating horse? No.
Sarah does not eat horses.
I do not eat horse.
Clarify, to be clear, Sarah doesn't eat horses.
I don't eat horses.
I apparently did as a child, so I'll tell you
God.
what.
I would, if I ever found out, I would freak out, I think.
Yeah. When I was a kid,
so much happening in that statement, Mom.
When I was a kid, my dad was stationed in Germany and he wanted to go see the rest of Europe. And so we camped all over Europe in a 9x9 tent. And my mom would go buy cold cuts and a baguette and make us lunch on make lunch on sandwiches. And apparently they were coming out of a butcher shop one time when they had bought some cold cuts. And my mom goes to my dad, well, why is there a horse's head hanging over the doorway?
Oh, no.
And that's when it dawned on them that apparently we had been buying different types of meat than what we were used to.
I get it. It's a specialty, but we had beef brisket instead because my favorite barbecue restaurant ever is literally a hole in the wall in Lexington, Kentucky. It is called Red State Barbecue, and you drive by it, and you're like, super sketchy. Did we go there?
Places.
Did we go there? Or no?
We went to a couple places when we were down there. I don't know if we went there or not. I can't remember.
If we're driving south at all, we plan to hit Lexington around lunch just so that we can go there. So I have my Red State barbecue sauce because you can buy it, and then we had brisket, and I did homemade mac and cheese, and of course you had to have Derby drinks. So we had mint juleps, which my husband's really good at making. I didn't like them before he made them. So
a gas station Philly cheesesteak during the Kentucky Derby. Pretty classy over here as well.
At least it wasn't gas station sushi, so that's probably, the cheesesteak's probably a little safer.
Or gas station horse cold cuts. That would be even scarier.
I've been mostly eating, shout out to Stewart's. Love me some Stewart's. I've been eating Stewart's meatballs for like every meal. They're so good, and it's so cold here.
Well, that just means if you're not hiking, you're reading, right?
Correct.
Good. So I know we all read like a ton of good books.
Yes. Let's get to it.
Yeah, I know I did. Who wants to go first this month? Who went first last month?
I don't remember. That was a long time ago.
I
don't remember either.
Well, we got you first on the list there, Sarah.
Okay.
So you want to go for it?
I'll go first. Yeah, like I said, I had a crazy good reading month, which was good because March I felt like was just kind of meh. Like I read, but they weren't anything. Every single book I read was a yes.
Oh, nice.
Some of my new favorites, like I would recommend a million times. First, I'm a crazy ACOTAR girl, first of all. So I'm obsessed with ACOTAR books. I've read them all a few times. And I love Fourth Wing. I'm really kind of into romantasy, and I read Quicksilver last month and I didn't love it. And so I tried something else that everyone said was really good. The Crowns of Nyxia duology by Carissa Broadbent, The Serpent and the Wings of Night, and The Ashes and the Star-Crossed King. That's book 1 and book 2. There's a book 3 and book 4 that take place in the same world, but not
Okay.
with the same couple. It's like other characters in there. So you could
Yeah.
read the first two. They were fantastic.
Oh, that's
I
good.
was like so hooked. They're about vampires.
Oh,
Which I'm like, I haven't read a good vampire book in a while. I mean, literally since like the Twilight days. So that's their, and the vampires are magic, and they still can't come out at night.
but do they sparkle?
They do not sparkle.
Bummer.
No, they do. I feel like they might glow a little, like when they're using their magic. They're very red, like you see their veins or something. But the vampires, they come from like different groups. Like one's a bloodborne versus like the House of Night versus the House of Shadow versus, and they're all warring to be.
Nice.
And of course, it's an enemies to lovers. They hate each other.
I love that. And
it was the best slow burn ever. 3/4 of the way through the book, you're finally like, yes, they're hooking up. Like, but it was it was so well done. It was so built. Like, it was so beautiful. So
I'm not laughing at you, Sarah. I'm laughing at Oswald in the background.
I see him now. Looking out the window.
It was like the slowest little creep up behind you. And then his face, and then all of a sudden his whole body was like,
oh gosh.
In the window? No, it's not in the window. God only knows what this dog will do.
Okay, so that was the first two I read. Obviously, we read The Perfect Marriage. If you want to hear us talk about that, you got to go back and listen to episode 2. How to End a Love Story. I think this was a free Kindle one or 99-cent Kindle by Yulin Quang. I'm totally slaughtering that last name. This one is funny. It started as a maybe, and by the end, I was so in love with the characters. It got good. Much deeper. For a romance, it felt real surface level at first. These two characters they have a shared horrific past of an event that I won't give away. And so they have a love-hate relationship until they don't, kind of thing. But it wasn't, and it kind of bugged me at first, but I was like, are they ever going to talk about this event? Because it's a pretty big thing. You can't just like fall in love and forget about it. And then I felt like they finally talked about it, and it was very beautiful. And you were like, okay, I feel satisfied. Good. So that was good. Then I read The Marsh King's Daughter by Karen Dion for my in-person book club. Takes place in the very, very northern Upper Peninsula of Michigan. So a good Michigan book. I've heard it's now, I think, in Michigan, probably the top selling book that has ever taken place in Michigan.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
It is about a woman in the future. She learns that her dad is getting out of jail or has escaped from jail. But her dad, she found out when she was 9 or 10 that her dad abducted her mom.
Oh.
And raped her, and she's the product of this abduction.
Oh, wow.
But she was raised in the middle of nowhere in northern Michigan for like 10 years, thinking the whole time this was her dad. And so lots of stuff about complicated feelings but it's my dad, but he did this really horrible thing, but he was my dad and he loved me. And he teaches her everything he knows about the wilderness. Like they live off the land, which is really cool. And then being in northern Michigan is so beautiful. He ends up escaping prison, and she knows she's the only one who can catch him because she knows how he thinks and where he will go. And he taught her things like how to track a deer, how to track anyone basically. So she kind of tracks him, and it was really good. They made a movie out of it. It's on Amazon Prime, but
I was going to say, I thought I had seen like something about it. I couldn't remember if it was the book, but it's probably the show.
It was good. I mean, the movie, it was much faster. It takes, they spend a lot of time talking about her childhood when she's, I love that just because I was so fascinated by the stuff she was telling us about what it was like living off the land. And I mean, because I'm from Michigan, these are the trees that are there, and these are the animals, and these are like what we could grow in the marsh, and this is what we could grow here. And it was like super fascinating.
You know what? It's making me think of The Great Alone. The same thing, like with a dad who's really messed up. But
it's taking place in Michigan instead of Alaska.
Yeah.
It also made me think of Stolen by Lucy Christopher.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Those complicated feelings of like, this is someone that did a horrible thing.
Yep.
I need them. I'm kind of like, I need them to survive. And they're teaching me how to survive.
Teaching me how to survive.
They're a horrible person.
Yeah.
that kind of
coming to terms with that.
Yeah.
And how she didn't really get along with her mom growing up because her mom was so like aloof, and she didn't
for
understand
good reason.
that really the mom was just trying to stay off the radar because she was like 18 when she was abducted. So she was just a child basically. And
that's
then
a
they
ton of
finally
trauma to deal with too.
Yeah.
The mom has to have like insanely complicated feelings about like
yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would highly recommend that book. It was one I was kind of like, when my book club picked it, I was like, I don't know. And then I read it and I was like, holy cow. And then I read an arc of The Poppy Fields by Nikki Ehrlich. And this is a book that, as my daughter says, it tickled my brain.
I love that.
That's what she tells me.
That too. That's
she
like
says that book,
thing.
Mom, that book tickled my brain. I'm like, that's a good way of doing it. And I think, Ma, you got an arc of this too.
I did.
Did you read this one yet?
Not yet, no.
God, this book, it's about, I don't even know where to start. It was so good. And like I said, it's one of those I keep thinking about. A group of people end up stranded in an airport and decide they have to drive to their destination, which is this medical facility called the Poppy Fields. And the Poppy Fields were created as a place for people to sleep off their grief.
Mm.
Ooh.
So it's like kind of science fiction, but also there's a lot of truth to this.
Yeah.
Because we all know that sleep heals the brain.
Right.
And so the concept of this is you sleep for like 3 to 6 months, depending on what you need. They put you into like a comatose deep state. It's not for like they screen everyone that goes in. It's not for people with PTSD or people who just want to escape the world. Kind of. It's more for loss and death.
Yeah.
And so, and this group, they're all going to the poppy fields for different reasons. They're not all going to sleep. And that their stories gradually come out. I thought it was a beautiful book about grief and about the importance of people in your life, like how important relationships are and that sort of thing. It just kind of blew me away. The few sort of bad reviews I read on it, I feel like it was because it wasn't what people were expecting.
Yeah.
They were expecting more science fiction, and it's like a very realistic science fiction. Like this could really happen. This could really be a facility. And then I have 2 more. Okay. Then I read another arc, First Wife's Shadow by Adele Parks. I've never read anything by her. She's a thriller writer.
Nice.
And I loved her. It was kind of paranormal-ish because it's about how she meets this guy and his first wife has died, but he's like 10 years younger than her and she's a billionaire. So all her friends are basically like, he's just gold digging. And she's like, no, he loves me. And the whole time you're like, at the beginning, it seems like a love story. So you're waiting for like the shit to hit the fan, basically. Like this is a thriller. I know it's going to get dark, but who dies? Like that kind of thing.
Is there murder?
But it definitely messed with your brain kind of thing. So
I like that kind of book where you're like, you
walk
out
I really liked it. Definitely psychological thriller. And the last one I read was an arc of Land So Wide by Erin A. Craig. Erin's one of my friends, so I love reading her stuff. She lives in Michigan. She actually went to high school with my brother. They were good friends in high school, which is just crazy because she's now this New York Times bestselling author.
Oh, that's awesome.
Super supportive of us and our podcast. She has our sticker on her case with all her stickers that she takes to signings and stuff.
Awesome.
She does like, it's kind of why this was her first adult one. Her other books are YA, but they're like true Gothic horror. Ooh. Like old school Gothic horror. Yeah. The other books she has are retellings. One is a retelling of like 12 Dancing Princesses. The other's a retelling of Rumpelstiltskin, like that sort of thing. This one was totally a crazy new world that she invented. So it was definitely paranormal, definitely freaky. I told her when I was reading it, like no joke. One night I was reading it because I read on my Kindle and I'm read in the dark. And then I have my little Kindle stand. Yeah. And I can lay down and use my remotes and everything. And I lay down, I swear to God, I saw an orb in my room. And I was like, oh God. So I told her that. I was like, dude, this book was so good. And I've never seen that in my room before. And I thought it was like a headlight. It was not. So that book comes out I think First Wife's Shadow is already out. Poppy Fields comes out in June, and then Land So Wide comes out in September. So sure we'll be talking more about those.
Aaron Craig's book, The 13th Child,
Yeah.
is one of my, I go and do horror presentations
really?
for middle grade and YA, and I try and get horror books across other
Yes.
genres. So like,
Yes.
you get those good hooks. And I was like, I know that name. Why do I know
There's
that name?
recipes in there too.
Oh,
I
She
know.
gave me, she did a signing just in Grand Haven not that long ago, and I have all of them signed.
I love that book, and it's one of my YA
that's so cool.
recommendations for horror.
I'm going to tell her that. She'll love that.
No, tell her. I had a
Small
girl.
world.
I
know.
I remember. I had a bunch of high schoolers at my last one I was at because it was a teen conference.
Yeah.
And I talked up this book, and I try not to give too much away because they're like, "Who is the 13th child?" And I was like, "I'm not telling you."
I know.
And before the presentation had even ended, the kid had hopped onto their library app.
Thank God.
They were like,
That's
"I
awesome.
need to know." I was like,
So funny story too about Erin. She was friends with my brother, like I said, in high school. They worked on theater together. She
Okay.
went to U of M and got a theater degree. And
Oh.
she stage managed for like 15
nice.
years
Yeah.
down in, I want to say, was she in Georgia or South Carolina? And she did a lot of stage managing of operas and stuff
Oh,
like
wow.
that.
Really?
Especially the dark ones. She liked
Yeah.
that kind of dark. So eventually moved back up here to be closer to her family. And
Yeah.
now the rest is like kind of history. So I'm just like, oh my gosh, I know this person.
That's cool.
So yeah, so that's my reading wrap up. It was a lot, but like I said, I was very, very good books. I would recommend every single one for a different reason.
Yeah.
All right, who wants to go next?
I can if you want.
Okay.
Okay, so I read The Perfect Divorce, which I enjoyed. I really, it's kind of cool when you see an author, when you've read some of their earlier books and then you read their later books and you see their growth as an author.
Oh, good.
And I definitely saw that here, that
Nice.
I definitely saw a lot of growth, some good twists and turns. I thought the ending was a little like too wrapped up in, like sometimes I hate it when it's like everything is like spewed, all the answers are spewed out once all at one time. But
Yeah.
other than that, no, I really enjoyed it. I won't go any further than that.
Don't spoil it.
Well, it's good to
No,
know
it's not a spoiler, but
and we had talked about growth of authors.
Yes.
How Geneva Rose had said that was her first book, and
Right.
she'd already re-edited it. So I'm excited to read Perfect Divorce.
yeah, I
almost bought it several times this month, and I was like, nope.
I saw it
Too
in
many.
Target like several times, and I was like, don't buy any more books right
I
now.
have my to be read cart back here is full. I was like, nope, I have.
I looked
arcs
out.
I have to read, and
I got it on Libby the day it came out. I was shocked.
Nice.
yes,
And then somehow or another, along with that, because it didn't like go to the Kindle app on Libby. It went to like an EPUB that I had to download, and
Oh.
somehow or another, I ended up with a second book by Geneva Rose that like came along with it,
okay.
and it was called Dead Woman Crossing, and it's about
that you're reading that right now, right?
I just finished it.
Or you just finished it? I think I saw that on your Goodreads.
Yeah, and so I enjoyed that one a lot too. It's about a single mom who's an NYPD detective.
Okay.
She moves to Oklahoma trying to find a quieter life for herself and her kid, and ends up in the middle of a gruesome murder investigation. Lots of good twists. I really enjoyed that. There's a second one in the series, and I already put it on, or actually I bought it on Kindle because it's on Kindle Unlimited, but I bought it because it was like $2 on Kindle.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
But definitely enjoyed that a lot. A couple other books I read. I had read an arc by this author by the name of Laura Wood, and then found out there was like not really a prequel, but a companion book. So the companion book was called Under Your Spell. And it's about three sisters who have the same dad. He's a rock star who impregnated three women like within 6 months of each other. So the three moms got together and had like this compound where the three girls grew up anyhow. And the other two have kind of got their shit together, but Clementine does not really have her shit together. And she's in this relationship with this like boring guy, and he breaks up with her because he got some other woman pregnant. She's all down in the dumps, so she decides she's going to take her life back by having her first one-night stand.
Okay.
So
good to have a plan.
she goes home with this. She's at I think it was at a
What could go
funeral.
wrong?
She has this great night with this guy. that she leaves the next morning, not realizing he was actually a famous rock star, and ends up that her sister is like one of his managers. That's how they end up at the same funeral. Her sister,
Right.
and they need somebody to basically babysit him at this secluded beach house in northern England while he writes his next album, and she ends up being the babysitter, and she thinks he hates her. And it was just super cute. I mean, it's like it's billed like on Amazon for people who like Christina Lauren or Emily Henry. It's that kind of vibe with some spice, but I just really enjoyed it. And you guys will like this part because the rock star Theo, his assistant gives Clementine, or she goes by Clemmy, all these like specific organic things that she has to prepare for him, and it's like, and Theo gets to the beach house, and all bets are off. He's eating Pop-Tarts and all kinds of shit that his assistant would be having a cow if they found out about it. So it was just a fun book. And then the second book that's like connected to it is called Let's Make a Scene, and that's an arc, and that one's about this guy and this girl. They're both actresses. They met on her first film when she was very amateur, and he was the son of two very well-known actors. And she thought it's same sort of thing. She thought he hated her. They had like a fake relationship. Anyhow, I really enjoyed it. I really like her books. Her name's Laura Wood, so I really liked her. So I read those two. Those are both yeses. I read A Distant Grave, which is a mystery that was set in Ireland, which was the sequel to the book I read for my book club. That one's by, I thought I wrote down, it's like Sara something Taylor. Really enjoyed it. I read At First Spite by Olivia Dade.
My favorite author. I love anytime anyone says they're reading her books. I love her.
I need to look her up apparently because I don't think I've read any of her.
This one's kind of like enemies to lovers. She was engaged to his brother, and he told his brother not to marry her, and so she thinks he hates her, and it was super cute. Lots of food references. The character, certainly her name's Athena. She likes good food. I love this line from the beginning. From a potato crisp's perspective, the rest of this evening was about to become Agatha Christie's, and then there was none.
That's fun.
Deals with anxiety and depression, so it's got some serious themes in it too. A little spicier than what I generally prefer, but not that I wouldn't read the next. I have the next book as an arc. But there's also, I kept thinking of Kit as I was reading it, lots of references to Monster Smut, the whole town, this little town. They were like all listening. They had a book club about it, and I was like, oh my God, I was laughing out loud at some of it.
You sent me that screenshot that was like tentacle porn.
Yes.
Specifically porticles. I sent that screenshot to like all my friends who read like Monster Smut with me. I was like, guys, I've made it because now I have other people who are not this kind of book reader sending me screenshots about porticles and the dragon. I was so excited.
Yeah, so I laugh so much at some of those, but then there's like those serious moments with the anxiety and depression. So I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to reading the next book that I have, like I said, as an arc. The next one is, oh gosh, I thought I wrote down the name, but I don't. I've been listening to The Feminine Mystique by Betty Friedan in preparation for next month's book. Lots of heavy stuff in it. So very interesting and eye-opening. Now, for my maybes, I put down Say You Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. I know I'm in the minority, but I just felt like this whole long distance thing, the two of them, it was just a lot of whining. Like neither one of them was willing to get off their ass and do something about their relationship. And way too many like trendy references in it that I feel like lots of TikTok references that I feel like aren't going to stand the test of time. Like almost like
you've read other books by her?
I've read all of them.
Yeah.
My favorite is her second book.
This one has been like like I've heard really people love it or they don't love it.
Yeah.
Because of what you're saying. It's been kind of like all over. I haven't read it yet. I'm still like, because I love her. Yours truly was my favorite.
My favorite is her second one, which of course my mind is going blank on it, but it's the one about the rock star, and I can't remember it right now because I know the first one's a friend zone, and the next one is
yeah.
I'm going. My mind's
I feel
going
like
blank.
I have that on my. I think I have that on my to be read.
I feel like Abby Jimenez is like a blind spot that I have.
Is it Life's Too Short?
Typing into my computer instead of on here.
It's
this one.
The happily ever playlist.
Yes. Yeah.
That's my favorite of hers.
Do I have that one? Yeah, I loved the one that came out last year.
Okay.
The summer, was that the summer one? Also a summer title or whatever.
Yeah.
And then that series, and then Yours Truly, which was about the doctor who was very OCD.
Right.
That was my first one, and I was like, I love this so much.
I have not read any of her books, and I
Really?
don't know why, because they appear to be right up my alley. It's like a weird little blind spot, especially given the fact that I'm obsessed with Stuntman Mike.
You have to read the Friend Zone, because the Friend Zone has Stuntman Mike in it, right?
Yes, that's the one where
that's the one that has Stuntman Mike.
Where she makes clothing for him.
Yes.
Yeah, like I love Stuntman Mike. I watch every single TikTok, and I don't know why I never put like two and two together.
Yeah. My feeling with her is kind of like, and I don't mean to be, I'm not really trying to talk bad about anybody, but I feel like as she's gotten more popular, like she's trying too hard. I mean, that I feel like some of her earlier books I liked better, but now I feel like she's trying to kind of appeal to the masses, and
maybe, yeah.
I feel like that's hurting her books, in my opinion, not helping them. I really liked another one I really liked is Part of Your World. I like that one a lot. About the doctor and the guy who owned the Airbnb.
Yep.
I like that one a lot too. So I don't dislike her books at all. This wasn't my favorite. Lessons in Chemistry is another maybe. We'll talk about that in the future. And my no was Harlem Rhapsody by Victoria Jackson Murray, I think it is. Victoria something Murray. And I thought I wrote down their names. And I was so disappointed with this. This one's about the Harlem Renaissance, about W.E.B. Du Bois and this woman who was very instrumental in the Harlem Renaissance. And as a history teacher, I was super excited about it. But it spent more time talking about their affair than any of the actual. And I just was like, I don't know. There's something about bedroom scenes of real people who are dead that just gives me a little bit of ick. Like, like it's like posthumously invading their privacy. Yeah. They're not even around to defend themselves. So there's another book I read, another about Bessie Coleman, who was the first Black female aviator, which was had a similar vibe to it. And I just was like, there's just something about it. I feel like, you're entitled to your privacy after you're dead, when you're not around to defend yourself. But all in all, a good month. And have you ever read, speaking of that, have you ever read The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks? No, I haven't, but I've heard good things about it. So good. And nonfiction, but the same thing about, it's about a woman who, a true story of a Black woman in, I want to say the 60s. No, it was definitely. Oh, wait. Is she the one who she had the cancer? She had ovarian cancer. Oh, and they used her for experiments. They still use her cells. Her cancer cells are still alive. She's responsible. Her cells, though, are responsible for creating, allowing in vitro. Oh, wow. To exist, because they had to figure out how to freeze her cells to send them places. But the family never got a dime. Wow. So it raises it's a lot about ethical things, about what do you do with medical waste? Like now you have things that you sign saying like when you have a hysterectomy, no, you can't take my organs. You have to throw them away or give them back to me. Otherwise, hospitals can do whatever they want with them. That includes sending them off for testing and doing things and essentially making money. Yep. But that was another. She's been gone a long time and never could defend herself, and her family's been fighting for years. It was such a good book. One of those nonfiction books I just went right through. It was so good. I heard about her actually in a Black women's history class I took in grad school a few years ago. So yes. Yeah, something her cancer cells. I never
were
put
so
two and two
strong.
together that
Yeah.
was who
Yeah.
the book was about.
And she didn't have cancer long. Like it took her very quickly. So,
Mhm.
most of what has happened, they're like, it's crazy because a part of her is still alive.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
these cancer cells came from her and they're still alive. It's just crazy. Okay. So,
All right.
Kit, share with
Moving
us
on.
what you read.
So I didn't read as many books this month as I usually do because I was busy on a couple side projects. But I got a couple arcs from Edelweiss. I got Nightmare Jones, which is a really good poetry collection. I'm adding it to my horror presentation. I love a good poetry collection. It's by Shannon Bramer. I always think when I put it on the shelves for kids, it's a nice little especially if you got horror and it's a nice little hook.
Yeah. Yeah.
J versus K by Jerry Craft and Kwame Alexander is a graphic novel.
Oh, yeah.
Those are two of my favorite authors, and to see them pair up is so funny. The book is about two kids, J and K, who one is a genius writer and the other one's an amazing artist, and they're both competing in like a competition, like a storytelling competition. And it's a cute little it's definitely exactly what it's like to work in an elementary school.
Yeah,
like everything I read, like while I was reading the arc, I was like, yes, like accurate. And there was all sorts of little asides throughout it where the authors were writing also like from their perspective.
Right.
Like Kwame says, like the cover has like, because of the way it's alphabetized, like JK, Jerry Craft first, then Kwame Alexander, like one name is crossed off and the other one. So it's like the adults are doing a little teasing competition and as well, which is cute. Last Second Chance by Lucy Score is a romance. It's part of a series, but you can read each of the books individually. They're about different couples.
Is that her newest?
This is the newest.
I feel like I've been seeing that a lot.
Yeah,
okay.
I enjoyed it. I wasn't sure if I was gonna enjoy it because I really did not like the main male character, and I wasn't sure if she was gonna be able to like pull it back around. He's very manipulative, and where I landed on it, because I don't want to give too much away,
right?
But essentially, they were high school sweethearts. There's a horrific car accident. She's in the hospital. And he leaves. Like he goes to LA and like becomes an actor. And then he comes home and that's where you get the last second chance thing. And he's just like, you're gonna love me. And she's like, I really hate your fucking guts, dude. And he is so like adamant and manipulative that I personally didn't really like the character, but I don't know that we're meant to. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was like, by the end I was like, I don't like it, but I like it. Do you know what I mean? So it was written very, very well. And then I also get arcs from a group called Book Sirens. The Gorgeous Blood by D.V. and Tara. I read this month. That's another vampire book.
Okay.
It's bonkers. Like, it was very good. It's a very, very quick read, which I appreciated because it's set in the South. There's a lot of really great historical kind of like connections with it. But then at the same time, it's just like a vampire that's like, I'm so fucking over this shit. And there's a young kid that finds him, and people know there's vampires, but it's still very taboo.
Yeah.
And the kid is, I say kid, he's a full blown adult, but he's so much younger than the vampire. He's dying of cancer, and basically he just wants to be turned into a vampire because he's not ready to die yet.
Aww.
And it also has some like filthy fucking, I guess just filthy
fucking. You said it.
I get it. I told you at the beginning there was gonna be adult stuff. But it also like has a weird little side plot where you're like, what does it mean for like to choose when you're ready to die?
Oh.
And if you have this opportunity, is it something that you should do? And what are the ramifications for the person that's turning you into a vampire? It was like this I was like, oh, okay, like there's a serious point here.
Yeah.
Like on top of all this other stuff. So it was very, very good.
I wonder if there's like a reason the author went that route. Like,
I don't
that
know.
seems like a very, you don't think about that unless you've had to think about it before, or you've lost somebody that you wish could have helped them move faster or something like that.
And they get into what it means for this kid's family. Like do you tell them? Are you putting them in danger?
Yeah.
Because vampires are still kind of like the bad guys in this book. And like, so you're like, oh, on one hand, this is just straight up like smut, but on the other hand, you're dealing with some very serious like thoughts. You're like, oh, dang. And then I also read The Perfect Marriage and Lessons in Chemistry. We get into those in the podcast. And then my top 3 this month, I had some really good ones. One was arc from Edelweiss. It is The Lost Saint by Rachel Craw. I'm going to talk about this one later too and some of the other questions, so I'm not going to go too deep. But it is a time travel story. It's like college age kids.
Okay.
They're in Germany. They're on kind of like an educational function. And one of the nights they're going to what is essentially like a party kind of thing. And it's in a cave that has some hot springs, but it also has like this great historical story tied to it. And while they're in there, there's a cave in, there's magic involved. People are dying because it's like that bad. And the people that survive the cave in emerge and they're in 14th century Germany. They're like right back in the middle of a war. And
of course,
there's a prophecy involved, and the main character is like right at the heart of this prophecy, and she is just trying to survive. And it's so well written and also just off the wall because it does not stop. Like it just things keep happening, and you're like, are you kidding me? Like this poor girl just wants to go home. Like help her. But that was a really, really good one. I also read the second book in the Cambric Creek series. That is Sweet Berries by C.M. Nascosta. We all know I'm a sucker for a monster romance. This is another one.
Oh my!
Did you send us that cover?
That's the Mothman one. Yeah.
Okay. Because I was like, I feel like I've heard of this book before.
Do you remember the text I sent you when I was at that book fair and some woman told me she read a book about a milking farm?
Yes.
And, yes.
And you're like, I know that book.
I know that book now.
Listen to our podcast and you can hear us talking about it. So,
oh my God.
I will talk about weird monster books every month. But this is the second book in the series. You don't have to read them in order. This one is our main girl's Grace. She works on a berry farm. She loves her job. She's got good friends. There might be like a little something with one of her coworkers.
You just stole a box of envelopes, so...
She is not looking for a long-term relationship though. She just wants to get laid. Like Home Slice is horny and wants to get laid. And she's like, I can't do that with a coworker. Like that's gonna end.
I mean, she's got a little brains then, right?
Yeah, like she's smart. And she even the tagline that she says over and over again in there is she's like, I'm too horny to think, and I can't let that take over my life. Luckily, she's at home in the middle of the night. She's taking care of business all by herself. And there's a stranger at her window. And she's like, well,
Come
you know
on
what?
in.
I guess he deserves a show. And like in typical Nascosta fashion, that's the author. None of this should work. Like you read, you're like, no. And as you read it, you're like, you know what though? Yeah. Like, yeah, it works. I don't know how she does it. It's amazing. And then the last book I read was called All I Wanted Was Sushi, but I Got Abducted by Aliens.
I love that title.
And that's by Petra Palerno. This is another like absolute off the wall, like unhinged read. About once a month, I will go on TikTok and just be like, give me your most insane recommendation. Like the book that you're like a little embarrassed to tell people you've read. Tell me about it because I want to read it. Bonus points if it's on Kindle Unlimited or I can snag it on Libby. So this was the one, someone responded with this one and like 4 or 5 people were like, yeah, you have to read that. And I was like, well, great. And
well, okay then.
It's insane. The title is exactly how the book starts. The main character, her name is Opal. She's just trying to like live her life and she's eating sushi and she gets fully sex trafficked by aliens.
Oh, okay.
Like she gets abducted and she's like, the fuck is happening here? She's on a bus. They're pumping her pumping her full of drugs that are like to get her ready to perform because she's about to be a stripper for aliens.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Like I hate everything that's happening. Luckily, the prince just happens to be driving by and sees her and is like, yes, I would like that. He's a shark human. humanoid. He has
Of course.
gills. What his skin is like leather, but she's into it, so it's okay. He rescues her, and
Bella, Bella liked the guy whose skin was like marble. So
yeah, like
That's
dark
true.
marble.
you never know. Like I've never met a shark man. I can't like say it's not good.
I mean, you
No.
never know.
You never know. On this planet, everyone has one true mate. Opal is this guy's one true mate. Great. He'll do absolutely anything to keep her safe, even returning to her to Earth. He's like, if you want to go home, I don't know how to do it, but I will get you there. Because as it turns out, these sex trafficker aliens have been lying to everyone and are telling people that life on Earth sucks and these humans are volunteering willingly. And that this is a good opportunity for them. And when they find out that that's not true, the prince is like, well, let's fix that shit. So a lot of smut, a lot of violence, and then a really like remarkably poignant through line about choice and self-determination and how we treat people who are different, that like we don't understand necessarily.
Right.
And I was really kind of surprised at that because I was expecting just straight chaos the whole time. And I was like, oh, we're actually going to deal with the fact that this is essentially kidnapping people and sex trafficking them. We're going to handle that. And I was pretty pleased with that as a side note, because you don't have to do that with books like this. So I was glad that she did. I thought that was pretty good. It's the first book of the Bubble Babes series. So if Shark Alien Men is your jam, you can read multiple. You can read several. I'll probably pick up the second one.
Well, I mean, I feel like with summer coming, sometimes I need those, like, I just don't want to think. I just want to laugh and watch the train wreck, even if it's this would never happen, but I still want to read it.
So
because
I highly recommend all of CM Nescosta's books. And
I'm
also
totally going to check
Olivia
one out.
Dade. If you haven't read Olivia Dade's books, they are so funny. And she does really deal with the more serious topics like body positivity, anxiety, depression.
And I love that.
Family toxicity. Like she deals with all of that stuff in a way that it sounds cliche, but it's literally laugh out loud funny. She used to be pretty active on social media. I don't think she is anymore.
Yeah.
But when her second book in the one series came out, All the Feels, the main character is Ren. And she is essentially a babysitter for this actor on the TV show. And he's like golden retriever puppy. There is only one bed scene in that book.
Oh, yeah.
That is the best I have ever read in
my
life. And I was, because it's so self-aware, he knows that they're about to live out his only one bed fantasy. And he is so happy about it. And is like losing his shit.
Oh, I love it.
And she is like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. But I was like live tweeting it. And I was like, oh my God, Olivia, what are you doing? This is the best thing ever. I was so, it was so. So if you haven't, that would be, if you just want a fun summer read, Olivia Dade's where it's at.
Okay. I'm going to check it out. Okay. So we on to the next part, our rapid fire questions.
Let's go.
Kit, what character would you want to go on a road trip with?
I would road trip with Merrick, who is the Mothman from Sweet Berries. Because one, it means we do not have to use the road. Homeboy can fly. Secondly, he's super nerdy. He is in town because he's an expert in pollinators, and his favorite are bees and hummingbirds. And
I mean, he is a Mothman, so it kind of...
I'm exactly the kind of person who, like, if you have a special interest and you would like to info dump on me, I want to hear it. I want to know. Like, I would love to be on a road trip with someone and they'd be like, over here we have, I don't want to be near the bees, I'm allergic, but you could tell me all about it.
I'm going to tell you all about it. Yep.
Exactly. And then I would be like, oh, hey, do you know what weird history thing happened here? And I feel like it would just be just geeking out the whole time, and I'm down for that. Absolutely down for that. What about you, Sarah?
I had Ava, Ray, Sasha, and Ellis from the Poppy Wars. Actually, it's just Ava, Ray, and Sasha. They're all on the road trip. Ellis works at the poppy fields, but because it was, in a sense, the standard road trip trope, where three strangers are together, yet somehow they become friends and, unload all their problems, because you find out, obviously, why they're on their way to the poppy fields. There's some really funny parts in there. Some poignant parts where they discuss their own grief and things like that they're dealing with. Learn a lot about each other. So that definitely that's why I put. How about you, Ma? Which put?
Okay, I would pick Theo the rock star from Under Your Spell, because first of all, he has a really nice car, and also he would pack the best road trip snacks, because he was into all the junk food when he was on his hiatus from being a rock star. So I would pick him. So
nice.
I am totally like, when I go on a road trip too, like we drive down to Tennessee or something, I'm like, I need all the candy and the licorice. I might get hungry, and it's not like there's not a million places to stop on the way, but I don't care.
Snacks.
I just want it all in the car.
You have to have car snacks.
I go back to my childhood, get Tootsie Pops and animal crackers are my favorite. So
I don't eat them at home. I don't eat them out and about. But if I'm on a road trip, I get the cheddar and sour cream Ruffles.
Oh, those are good.
That's the car snacks.
Yeah.
And also bologna, which is like, I knew
so random.
It probably has some horse in it.
Yeah. Whatever. I always get, like, I eat it just rolled. Like, I don't eat it. It doesn't want a sandwich. I straight up will buy like a pound of fucking bologna from Wegmans. Shout out Wegmans. It's not even special Wegmans bologna, but something about the way they package it. And I'll just snack on like rolls of bologna.
Right.
That's what happens when you grow up making your own snacks after school.
Yeah. Yeah. I know mine comes, I think, from my parents. We used to go to, my godparents have a cottage in Canada. Mm-hmm. We used to go up there for a week, and that was when like we were allowed to get the little tiny boxes of cereal, the sugar cereal, the junk. That was like 100% what we would travel with. That only time all year we could get that.
Yeah.
We would make tortilla shells with American cheese and bologna in them and microwave it. It's
yes.
But that trip was all like, that was the only time we ever had candy or whatever, because my parents were real health food people, which is probably also where my issues stem from.
Not my family.
Yeah. I'm like, I need all the junk now because I ate way too healthy for a while. So
I just eat straight junk all the time.
Yeah.
I try to be healthy. I was hungry the other night. I ordered a whole Little Caesars pizza and breadsticks for myself.
Oh, okay.
Sounds about right.
Sat in the hotel room and watched. What's the? Oh man, why am I blanking on the name of it? Where they steal the Constitution.
Oh, National Treasure.
National Treasure. Just me and my pizza watching National Treasure.
Any places you'd like to travel in any of the books that you read?
I put The Lost Saint down, even though it's like terrifying to end up in 14th century Germany in the middle of a war. I do always love the idea of visiting the past. And I also like the idea that in this particular iteration, magic is real. And I want to also experience that.
I always tell my students, though, that I feel like that if you went into the past, it would smell really bad.
Yes.
They did
not bathe or change clothes, so
I know you got a camper, Maryanne, when you camp, but I've been sleeping in a hammock for 7 days. This is the first shower I've had in days. The smell does not bother me. That's not going to be a problem.
But your own smell doesn't bother you as bad as somebody else's smell. And plus, people like they
underestimate what I can put up with.
They poured their chamber pots onto the streets. I know.
So, Elizabethan England sounds cool until you remember that. Yeah,
and there was like horses everywhere and horse shit everywhere. So
that smell would bother Kit and I. I'd be like, oh, it smells like
not a problem. I'm like, I'm nostalgic.
Plus, I work in the city I work in Michigan is called Coopersville, and some people call it Poopersville because we have a lot of cow farms, and if the wind blows just right, it literally smells like poop in the school. Plus, there's a garbage dump there too. So
I grew up next to the most polluted lake, one of the most polluted lakes in the entire country. It smells like sweaty gym socks when it's sunny. I mean, like, smell is not. Not. Also, I like that when the wind blows and you can tell, I think Sarah will understand, you can tell whether it's cow manure or horse manure.
Oh, I 100%
It's a different smell. That's fine.
Or pig manure. I'm like, that is the pig farm down the road.
Turkey, Plainville Turkey Farms.
Turkey is the worst.
Turkey's the worst.
It's what happens when you work at a a very rural school district. We have Drive Your Tractor to School Day coming up.
I love that.
Holy shit! See,
I will share pictures. It's pretty cool, actually.
I love that.
These kids drive tractors that are worth more than any car in the parking lot because they're
100%.
driving their parents' brand new John Deere combine. And you're like, dude, that's $500,000.
The tires alone cost more than my Honda.
Are
you kidding me?
Yeah. It's like the highlight. The seniors get to do it. It's their highlight.
Graduating. One of my nieces drove it because she didn't have a tractor. She drove their really, really nice riding lawnmower.
I know. We had kids do that for a while, and I think they put a stop to it because they were kind of like, it's supposed to be for the tractors, not the. I'm like,
yeah.
So I put Northern Michigan because kind of like when we were talking about God of the Woods. This took place in Tequaman and River Valley, which I know. I love Tequaman and Falls. It is beautiful area. There's an upper and lower falls. The upper falls is huge. The lower falls are just like a series of falls. Stunningly beautiful. The water is rust colored because I think, cool. I don't know if it's because, it sounds weird, but maybe because of the copper in the water. There's a lot of copper in Northern Michigan.
That would make sense.
So it looks really cool coming down. It's not dirty. It's like golden. You know, it's different. And there's a spot where she actually, her father takes her to Tequaman and Falls. So same thing. I'm looking on the map as she's mentioning cities. I'm racing down this highway and I'm pulling up my Michigan map going, oh, and then she says, we lived in Newberry. And I'm like, oh, I see Newberry. Like, this is all really true. So the falls are unbelievable. I went there a couple summers ago and I could just sit there for hours. It's so northern, the Upper Peninsula of Michigan is literally like a different country. It's so different than the Lower Peninsula and stunningly beautiful. So I 100% would love to travel up there again.
So I just Googled it because there's no way I can let a reference go by without being like, but why is it? It's actually not the copper per the internet.
Okay.
Which is always true.
Yep, of course.
The reason that it has the distinctive red-brown color is actually due to tannins.
Oh, yeah. I think I knew that.
Cedar, hemlock, and spruce trees in the boreal wetlands.
We have a ton of
the bark.
Yeah.
We
have a lot of conifers. Is that what pines are?
Yes.
That's what a lot of northern Michigan is various. Yeah. And then the marshes.
Yeah.
Which is where this book takes part, in the marshes way up in the north.
So where I am right now, a lot of the water is also kind of like similarly colored, which I don't think I was really like paying attention until you just said that. But it's the same kind of forest. It's a boreal forest. It has a lot of swampy kind of areas. Yep. So I wonder if it's like a similar thing. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I feel like that's the more you know.
Yep. Kind of it is. Little science lesson for you on the podcast.
Okay,
all right, Ma, how about you?
Okay, so I would, where we go, what am I doing?
Where you want to go.
Oh,
where you want to go, yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm dealing with the demon who is currently trying to steal my waste paper basket, I believe. So, I would go to Northumberland in England, which is where Under Your Spell takes place. Mm-hmm. And it's apparently, because I had to Google it, it's a county on like the eastern side of England, bordering Scotland.
Okay.
So, and it's like a beachside cottage they stay in. So, the beach isn't like white sandy beaches that you lay out in your bathing suit. It's like that cold and, place where you wear like woolens to walk around. And I think that would be really cool to go up there and see that. I'm hoping to go to Scotland for Thanksgiving break this year. So
nice.
I would love to go to Scotland.
I was there once when I was much, much younger. So I'm looking forward to going back. And those are my grandparents on my dad's side were actually from Scotland. So,
okay.
Nice. They're actually Irish, but they live in Scotland. But yeah, so I think I would like to go to Northumberland and go see like that rugged, beach, not that like sandy beach that I've got a mile away, but like that rugged beach.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
For sure. All right. What character do you want to have dinner with?
I put J and K from J versus K. I know most teachers like hate doing lunch duty. I love it. I've done lunch duty kindergarten all the way up through 8th grade. And these kids in this book, J and K, are 5th graders. And there's something just like specifically unhinged about that age where they say anything that comes into their mind. They have zero filter. And in this book, they're also both like extremely talented. And I would love to just like have a little, I mean, maybe not dinner, but like have a little cafeteria lunch bunch situation with these two and just watch them go at it with like the storytelling, because they both have like wicked imaginations. They're drawing, they're telling stories, and I think it would be like insanely entertaining.
That sounds like fun.
I did fifth grade lunch bunch for both years that I was working elementary school, and it is my absolute favorite. So that's what I would pick.
What about you, Sarah?
I put Matthew from A Perfect Marriage because he was so funny, and his little one-liners just like.
But he's not in The Perfect Divorce. I was so disappointed.
So disappointed to hear that. Yeah, because he like his little one-liners.
Maybe we can have like a whole Matthew book.
Maybe that would be awesome.
Maybe we need to tell her that. Geneva, if you're listening, we want more Matthew.
We want more Matthew.
Yeah, I think it would be funny. It's like, you know, having that one friend that you just sit and talk total trash with at dinner. And you'd feel better afterwards. And I
best friend.
It, so. Yep. All right, Ma, what do you say?
I would go with Athena from At First Bite, because that girl likes good food. So I think she would know the best place to go. So that would be my choice.
Nice.
Good. Top book recommendations of what you read. What would you recommend?
I'd go with the last. We're gonna pause for the cause while Oswald.
Oh, she's laughing. What is he doing? What is he doing?
We're playing tug of war over the waste paper basket.
I don't even know where my dog went.
It's not small
it's
either.
Not even it's so random.
He's like, you thought you were going to work? No, you're not.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Top recommendation. What would you recommend, Kit?
I went with The Lost Saint by Rachel Craw. I really, really loved this book. There was there's the time travel. There's some history stuff. There's also romance, but it's not like the main point of the book, which I really liked because it's there. It gives you a little taste of it, but it's not the main focus.
Right.
My only negative on this book is like kind of a negative, not a negative. It ends on a hell of a cliffhanger.
Oh shit! Is that the one you did the video about? That's so rude.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. It's very rude, Rachel, but it's you kind of all of everyone's like immediate fates is wrapped up, so you kind of know where all your players are at the end of it. But I thought we were going to get a resolution on the big thing, which is the time travel part. And you just don't.
Yeah.
It just cuts off, and I was like, what? I think I yelled, oh, come on.
Is she planning on more? Like,
I do believe so, which is great. But also, it's an arc, so it's going to be a bit of a wait.
Oh, yeah, because it hasn't even come out yet.
That's the worst part about reading arcs is that you're like, I have to wait even longer.
You have to wait till publication day and the next book.
Yes. Yeah. And it was so good, but like it very abruptly ended.
Oh, no.
And I was like, wait. Like, we're not, I don't. Okay, well, everybody's here, but like, what? Like, I was so thrown off. But that's like a good problem, bad problem. Like, it was written so well that I wanted all of it right now.
Yeah.
And she was like, no, you cannot.
Oh my gosh.
How about you, Sarah?
I had such a hard time deciding because everything was so good. I put my top reads were the Crowns of Nyaxia series, just because I haven't read a good romantasy in a while, and I thought that was up there. And The Marsh King's Daughter, Poppy Fields, and Land So Wide. If I had to pick one, I would if you could only read one book, I would say Poppy Fields, just because it was just such a, I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it. My in-person book club is doing it, and when it comes out, and I'm dying to talk to people about it because I just, like I said, I thought it was such an interesting take on grief and how we deal with grief and how important human interaction is with us and friends and things like that. So that would be my top pick.
It sounds like Oswald is like filing papers. Just like, I don't know why
that the file cabinet keeps opening and closing as he's grabbing the wastebasket. And Oh, the things we do for rescues, right?
Okay, my turn.
Yeah,
It's
your
your
turn.
turn.
I would pick the books by Laura Wood, Under Your Spell and Let's Make a Scene. They were just, they were just like happy books. And sometimes you just need to read happy books. I mean,
Yep.
it wasn't like all frivolous, there was issues like, like for Clemmy, she had a lot of confidence issues and she wasn't really sure where she wanted to go in life, so it wasn't just all like happy and frivolous. There were some serious issues, but it was, it was just one of those books that made you laugh and made you happy. It was, but there's times when it really made you think. So they were
Yeah.
just my happy books for the year. Or for, I feel like I'd been in such a drought of books that I really liked that it was nice to have something. I was like, oh, I would read more by this author. So
Yeah.
that would be mine.
Yeah. I hit such a Onyx Storm. Rebecca Yarros hit me hard. Like, I read it and then I think I read another book and then I listened to it. I just couldn't stop thinking about it. And then, when you read that kind of book, it takes you a while to get like back into your groove.
It's like I call it like a book hangover.
It totally was a book hangover. Yeah. Like, and I wasn't unsatisfied with it. It does leave you hanging, but not as bad as Iron Flame did. But I still was like, oh my gosh, I just want to read and enjoy books again instead of being like, this is okay.
Right.
So it was a good month for that, for sure.
What are you reading next, Sarah? Do you know?
That's what I was just looking. I have a very large, my cart is totally full of to be read. I applied for a couple arcs. And so it might depend if I get those. I guess I started a couple days ago, currently reading an arc of Elisa Scotoline book. That's pretty good so far. And I'm trying to think what it's called because it's new. The Unraveling of Julia.
Oh,
which it's kind of reading. I know it's kind of reading, like she's a thriller author, kind of. And then it's kind of reading like I don't know, like a sad romance at the moment. So you're kind of one of those where you're like, what genre? You're kind of waiting for like things to happen. Yeah. It's really, really good. And then I've got a couple, oh my gosh, because I still picked up all those books at the book signing I did and some authors that I want to connect with. So that's
nice.
One of those to see where the mood strikes me. Maybe I'll pick up a monster romance just because.
You never know.
Depends how I feel next week.
For a good time. Depends on how you're feeling.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm reading an arc right now, too. I'm reading When Love Gives You Lemons by Stephen Salvatore.
You sent us that.
By far one of my favorite authors. I adore him as a person. He's an amazing person. And I love his books. And lately, his last couple have been kind of like takes on 90s rom-coms. So he had a Pretty Woman one. This one is My Best Friend's Wedding. So it has a ton of food in it. The main character is like a food TikToker kind of thing, Fielder. And he's, his next door neighbor was like the love of his life, but they haven't seen each other in a few years since they like had the big breakup situation. But they go to Italy for a destination wedding. So there's like all sorts of food. There's destinations. There's romance and shenanigans. I'm almost done with this one. I'm absolutely loving it so far.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I forgot in my Lisa Scotoline book, she's going to Italy. Like it's another like mysterious letter. Her husband has just died. She gets a mysterious letter saying, you have inherited this estate in Tuscany.
Oh.
So I was like, well, I have to read this.
Why doesn't that ever happen to me?
I know. I'm like one chapter in and I'm like, oh, sounds good.
Nice.
I want to go to Italy. I like Italy.
I don't know if I really did mine or not, but I'm reading Where'd You Go, Bernadette? And Who's It by Marie Semple, I think it is. Mm-hmm. And that's for my book club. And so I'm in a crunch to get it done by Thursday with a bunch of other stuff coming up. Plus I'm going to that Christina Lauren thing on Wednesday. So that's going to eat up some of my time.
That's so exciting.
Kind of a crunch to get it all done. So
are you very far in it?
Like 20%, I think.
Okay. Got a little ways.
So, yeah, but it's a fast read so far.
It's a fast read. I like it. There's some really funny moments in that book.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm not worried about it. I'll get it done. It's just, I feel like I'm reading under pressure though. So
yeah.
Yeah, I struggle with that sometimes. Like if I feel like I have to get it done, like suddenly I'm the slowest reader.
That's when I pull the audio. I pull the audio book because then I have a 25-minute commute to work every day. So I listen.
I got the Love Haters by Catherine Center on audio, and I love Patty Murin, who narrates it, and I was listening to the Feminine Mystique, and I was like, okay, I can't listen to all of this really important stuff anymore. I need to listen to something that makes me happy.
Yeah.
And so I started listening to that on the way home, and it's like
Yeah.
Catherine Center does really good banter between her characters, and
Yes.
I'm really enjoying that. So
Yeah.
but
It's funny when you listen to enough audiobooks, I start to recognize.
Yes.
Like, oh, I don't like him. I'll look and be like, oh, he does. I don't like him. Oh, I like her. Oh, he's really good. He would be good in this. You know, like wow, I've become an audiobook nerd now.
Yes,
like,
yes.
I know the people. Yeah. So, all right. Well, that'll probably about do it for us. You think?
Yes,
I
sounds
think
like it.
so.
Talked about many, many books today, but of course, if you have not listened to this month's book club episode, Till Death Do Us Part, where we talked about The Perfect Marriage by Geneva Rose, blanking for me because I didn't have it written down in front of me. Did he like that book? Did he like it too? Was he very, no. Yeah.
I think that was commentary on you blanking. He was like,
I think it was. How can you host this?
forgot her
How
name.
can you do this? Yeah. So anyway, listen to Till Death Do Us Part, all about The Perfect Marriage by Geneva Rose. And of course, our next book club episode where we're going to talk about Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmis. And that will be out May 26th.
And don't forget to follow our socials, subscribe to the podcast, and please leave us a review. We want to know what you think.
And let us know if there's a book you'd like to see us read or cover in the book club. We love recommendations.
I might need a second cart for my TBRs. I don't know.
Yeah, I just have them stacked everywhere.
That's the beauty of a Kindle. It's all in one place.
I know. Oh, I have a whole bunch on my Kindle too. It's bad. So
my only complaint about the Kindle, because I get a lot of ARCs on Kindle, as an aside, is that sometimes there's no cover.
Oh,
yes.
So then
it doesn't look pretty on your list.
Well, and also I can't see it.
Yes.
Like, I can't read what's the title. So I'll be like, I know what I want to read, and I'm like clicking through, and I'm like, that's not it. That's not it. That's not it. And then I'm like, oh, I forgot I had that book. I do want to read that one.
I do too.
I like a pretty cover though.
Yeah.
Yep, same. So we're always looking for, obviously we read all sorts, so give us lots of recommendations. But
all sorts.
All the things, yeah. But until next time, keep reading.
Keep exploring.
And don't forget to pack some snacks.